involved in that. Well, in Austin, the Senate is considering a bill on education savings accounts.
School choice is one of Governor Abbott's top priorities, and he's called a third special session to get something passed. We want to bring in Patrick Svitek, a political reporter with the Texas Tribune. Thank you, Patrick, for joining us today here in Houston. I want to start off with first asking you, what exactly is an education savings account? How is that different from a voucher?
Sure. So there's a lot of terms flying around in Austin, so I can just tell you what an education savings account is. It is an account that the state would make available to parents, and they would deposit a certain amount of state funds into that account. In the Senate right now, the proposal is for $8,000. And then the parents that are the recipients of that account can use that money to subsidize tuition for private schools or to pay for other educational expenses such as textbooks, uniforms, school transportation, for example. So that's the main proposal on the table right now in the state Senate.
Okay, speaking of that, let's talk more about that bill that's up for consideration. So we're talking $8,000 per student. So what would someone have to do to be eligible for that in the first place? And then what could they use that money for?
Sure. So under this proposal that is under consideration in the Senate right now, almost any student who was enrolled in public schools last year would be eligible to apply for this program. But there will, if demand outstrips the amount of money available, there is a formula in this proposal to prioritize, students on free and reduced lunch, for example, or, families at a certain level below the poverty line. So again, while eligibility is broad, if there is more demand than the money can meet, there is a prioritization of, lower income families.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you right, Patrick, $8,000 that can be used on any kind of like education expense. A lot of critics say $8,000 is not enough to go to private school, for example. I mean, most families cannot afford private school, and $8,000 doesn't cover private school. So they can use this money to put it away for, let's say, community college or tutoring or things like that?
I don't know. But I do know that there's other educational expenses it can be used for, such as textbooks, uniforms, and transportation. And you're right that the critics have said that $8,000 is not enough. And one of the arguments against this is that it could just end up being, effectively a coupon for people who, are already in private schools. Just help them, just get a discount on a school choice that they've already chosen.
And when you think about $8,000 not being enough for a family, you have to think about it in conglomeration. We're talking $500 million, and that's where critics come in, complaining that it's just taking away from public education. Can you explain if it's a different source of funding, but still footed by taxpayers? It all gets a little confusing.
Sure. So this program would be administered by the Comptroller's office, not by the Texas Education Agency. But it all goes back to, this is state funding. This is taxpayer dollars that is being used to try to provide parents with options to take their kids out of public schools. And of course, critics, just in principle, are against anything that would siphon taxpayer dollars away from public schools.
All right, Patrick, we're out of time, but when's the next, hearing meeting on this? Because it's advancing, but what happens next?
Sure. So the Senate bill I described could be debated on the Senate floor as early as today. We haven't seen the House move yet on any particular piece of legislation as it relates to this. And that, of course, is where the rub is going to be, because the House has historically been where the opposition has been to this proposal. So we're still very early in the special session. We'll have to see where it goes.
All right. Patrick from the Tribune, we appreciate your time this morning. We'll talk to you again soon, hopefully.